We met at a friend's barbecue in the summer of 2019. It was one of those long weekends filled with laughter, music, and too much beer. She walked in wearing a white sundress, holding a plate of ribs, and smiled like she owned the world. Her name was Emily. She had just moved to the city for a new job as a paralegal. I was a 27-year-old electrician who ran a small crew and worked long hours. We started talking about nothing, and somehow it turned into everything. She said she liked that I was grounded, real, not like the office guys she usually dated. I didn't think much of it then, but looking back, that was the first red flag. Still, I was hooked. We started seeing each other every weekend, then every day. She'd bring me lunch at job sites, just to see me for 5 minutes. I'd fix little things in her apartment, because she said she loved how capable I was. It felt easy, natural, like something that was meant to happen. By the end of the first year, we were inseparable. When she got promoted, we celebrated with cheap champagne and takeout on my couch. She said she wanted a man who showed up, who cared more about love than money. I believed her. We moved in together after 2 years. She said my place felt like home. I worked extra hours, saved up, built us a future brick by brick. I even started looking at engagement rings. I found one, a platinum band with a princess cut diamond. 8 grand. I thought she was worth every cent. We talked about kids, about buying a bigger house, about growing old together. She'd joke about our future. When we have kids, you'll teach them to fix everything, she'd say. Her laugh made the world feel smaller, safer, and mine. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. I'd come home tired and covered in drywall dust, and she'd hug me anyway. She'd call me her blue-collar hero. We had movie nights, lazy Sundays, burnt dinners that turned into jokes. For 3 years, I never doubted her once. She was my peace after long days. My reason to keep pushing. I thought love was enough to hold everything together. But love isn't always stronger than pride. Somewhere between her big city dreams and my simple life, she started drifting. She wanted more, though she never said it out loud. I could feel it in how she looked past me sometimes. Like she was imagining another version of her life. One with fancy restaurants, designer suits, and a man who didn't come home smelling like sawdust. I ignored it. I told myself she was just tired. I told myself we were fine. But deep down, I think I already knew the truth. I was building a future with a woman who had already started dreaming of someone else. It started in December, right before Christmas. Emily's firm took on a new client, a big corporate merger deal. She mentioned it at dinner one night, said she'd be working with another company's finance team. Then she said his name, Nathan. Her ex. I froze for a second, but she brushed it off like it was nothing. Don't worry, it's just business, she said, smiling that confident smile. I wanted to believe her. I really did. At first it was small things. She mentioned how smart Nathan was, how organized his team seemed. Then it became constant. Nathan said this. Nathan thinks we should try that. I laughed it off the first few times, pretending it didn't sting. But each mention was a tiny crack, spreading through everything we'd built. By January, she was working late almost every night. Before, she'd be home by 6. Now it was 10, sometimes 11. Always with the same excuse. We're finalizing numbers with Nathan's team. She'd come home smelling like expensive cologne that wasn't mine. I wear Old Spice. Whatever she smelled like cost way more. I asked once if she'd eaten dinner. She said Nathan's team ordered sushi for everyone. She said it like she was part of some exclusive club I didn't belong to. She stopped asking about my day. Stopped looking at me the same way. When she talked about work, her eyes lit up. When she talked to me, her voice went flat. The worst part wasn't what she said. It was what she didn't. The silence between us got heavier every night. I'd sit on the couch waiting for her, wondering if she'd even come home. When she finally walked in, she'd be glued to her phone, laughing at messages I wasn't allowed to see. One night, I asked if she wanted to do something that weekend. Dinner, a movie, anything. She sighed and said she was too busy. Then she added, "You wouldn't get it, Ryan, my work is different." That cut deeper than she knew. I worked with my hands, not spreadsheets. But I built things that lasted. She built excuses. I tried to talk about it. Tried to tell her I missed her. She rolled her eyes and said I was being clingy. She said Nathan respected her ambition, unlike me. That word, ambition, became her shield. Every argument ended with it. I told myself she was just stressed, that the project would end soon. But deep down, I knew she wasn't coming home late because of work. She was staying late because she didn't want to come home at all. I'd catch her smiling at her phone, her whole face softening in a way it hadn't for me in months. That's when I stopped asking questions, because the answers were already there, written all over her face. She was gone, and I was the last one to admit it. It all came crashing down on Valentine's Day. I'd bought her flowers, made dinner reservations, and even took off work early. When she came home, she barely looked at me. Her phone was in her hand, fingers moving fast, smiling at whatever she was reading. I asked if she wanted to talk. She sighed and said she was too tired. Something in me snapped. I asked her if something was going on with Nathan. She froze, then laughed like I'd told a bad joke. "Oh my God, you're so insecure," she said. "We're working together, that's it." She started packing, throwing her hands up. "Not everything is about your jealousy, Ryan." Jealousy. That's what she called it. As if I hadn't watched her fall out of love, in slow motion for months. I told her I just wanted honesty. That I could feel her slipping away. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're threatened by successful men." That word again, successful. Not good, not kind, not loyal. Successful. I didn't yell. I didn't even move. I just nodded and said, "Okay." She stormed off to the guest room, slammed the door, and left me sitting alone. I stared at the flowers on the table until midnight. They looked stupid, out of place, like decorations for a funeral. The next day, I told my best friend, Jake, everything. He said the words I didn't want to hear. "She's already gone, man. You're just the last one to know." He was right. The following weeks were torture. Every conversation turned into a comparison. Nathan just got promoted. Nathan drives a new BMW. Nathan's company just bought another firm. I'd tell her about a big project at work, something I was proud of. She'd smile and say, "That's nice," then change the subject to him. I started eating dinner alone. Started sleeping on the couch because she said she needed space. I think the space she needed was the size of another man. The breaking point came one Friday night. I came home early to surprise her with dinner at her favorite restaurant. She was in our bedroom, wearing that silk blouse I'd bought her, on a video call with Nathan. She was laughing, playing with her hair, biting her lip. I didn't say a word. Just turned around, showered in the guest bathroom, and got dressed to go out alone. When I told her I was heading to dinner, she rolled her eyes. "I'm not going anywhere with you if you're going to sulk," she said. I left without a word. That night, sitting at a table for two, I finally saw it for what it was. She wasn't my partner anymore. She was already someone else's fantasy. When I came home, she was waiting, arms crossed, ready to fight. I didn't fight back. I just listened until she said the words that ended everything. "You'll never be half the man Nathan is." And I smiled. Because she was right. I'd never be him. And I didn't want to be. After she walked out, the house felt painfully quiet. No shouting, no laughter, just silence and the hum of the fridge. For a while, I didn't know what to do with myself. Every room smelled like her perfume. Her mug was still by the sink. Her hair tie sat on the nightstand. It was like she was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I spent the first few weeks working nonstop. If I wasn't busy, I was thinking. And if I was thinking, I was hurting. So I filled every hour. New contracts, more clients, more noise. Eventually, the pain dulled into something manageable. I started sleeping again. I started eating real food instead of beer and leftover pizza. Jake checked in every few days. He kept saying, "You'll be fine, man, just wait." I didn't believe him then, but he was right. Time didn't heal everything, but it numbed enough. 3 months later, life started to look normal again. Work was booming. I'd hired 2 new guys and landed a big commercial project downtown. Money was good. Peace was better. Then I met Claire. She was a project manager for one of the developers I worked with. We met at a job site when she came to inspect the wiring. She was professional, sharp, but had this calm energy about her. No games, no arrogance, no pretending. When she smiled, it felt honest. She asked me about my company, not my future income. She said she admired people who built things with their hands. We got coffee after that meeting. One cup turned into dinner the next weekend. Dinner turned into something I didn't realize I'd missed: peace. With Claire, I didn't have to prove myself. I didn't have to compete with anyone. She didn't care about brands or job titles. She cared about presence. When she listened, she actually listened. It was new. It was strange. It was everything Emily never gave me. By May, we were seeing each other regularly. I wasn't rushing anything. I'd learned that love built fast burns faster. Claire never compared me to anyone. She never made me feel small. For the first time in years, I could breathe. Meanwhile, Emily was everywhere online. Photos of her and Nathan in fancy restaurants. Hashtags about finding success and love again. It was the kind of happiness that screamed desperation. Jake sent me one of the pictures and said, "Guess she upgraded." I laughed and deleted it. Let her have her version of perfect. I didn't need to prove a thing. I had peace. Real peace. And that felt better than any apology she could ever give. I thought that was the end of our story. But life has a way of reopening old wounds just when you start to heal. It was a Tuesday night in late June when my phone started blowing up. I was at Claire's place, watching a movie, half asleep on the couch. Her phone was on silent, but mine wouldn't stop buzzing. Unknown number first, then a string of frantic texts. "Please answer. It's an emergency. Emily needs you." For a second, I thought it was a prank. Then I saw the name, her sister Anna. Something in my chest tightened. I stepped into the kitchen and called back. Anna was crying so hard she could barely talk. "She's in the hospital. She was attacked. She's asking for you." My stomach dropped. What happened? She was walking home from dinner with Nathan. Some guy tried to steal her purse. There was a pause. "And Nathan?" Anna's voice cracked. "He didn't do anything, Ryan. He just stood there, didn't move, didn't help." I gripped the counter until my knuckles turned white. "You're telling me he watched it happen?" "Yes. He said he didn't want to escalate the situation. Then he left the hospital." "Left her?" I told Claire what happened, expecting anger or jealousy. She just nodded. "Go," she said quietly. "Be careful. I'll be here when you get back." That's when I realized I was with the right woman now. I drove 20 minutes through the city lights that felt colder than usual. When I walked into the hospital, Anna ran up and hugged me. "She keeps asking for you," she whispered. I didn't know why I came. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was decency. Maybe I just needed to see how far she'd fallen. When I entered her room, she looked small. Bandaged wrist, bruised cheek, eyes swollen from crying. The cop taking her statement stepped out when he saw me. She looked up and broke down instantly. "You came," she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "What happened?" She told me everything between sobs. The dinner, the alley, the mugger, the fear. And how Nathan just froze. Didn't yell, didn't call the cops. Didn't even help her stand. When he finally spoke, he said, "My company doesn't want us involved in street incidents. Corporate policy." Those 2 words made me sick. A stranger had helped her instead. Nathan took an Uber and left. He said he had an early meeting, she cried. For a moment, I saw the woman I'd loved buried under all her mistakes. "I'm sorry that happened to you," I said quietly. She reached for my hand, trembling. "You would have done something. I know you would have." I didn't answer. Because she was right. Even after everything, I couldn't have just stood there. She asked if I could stay until they discharged her. I wanted to say no. But I stayed. Not for her. For the man I still wanted to be. She was discharged around 1 in the morning. Anna had gone home to her kids, and there was no one left to take her. I couldn't leave her alone after what happened. So I drove her back to Nathan's building. She stared at the glass tower, hands shaking, refusing to move. "I can't go up there," she whispered. "He won't even look at me." I sighed and unlocked the doors again. "You can stay on my couch tonight," I said. "Just tonight." Her eyes filled with relief and shame all at once. "Thank you," she whispered, voice breaking. When we got to my place, she barely said a word. I set up the couch with blankets and a pillow. She fell asleep almost instantly, still wearing my old hoodie. I went to bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what the hell I was doing. Jake texted around midnight. "Tell me you didn't bring her home." I didn't reply. The next morning, the smell of coffee woke me up. She was in the kitchen, making breakfast like it was years ago. "Morning," she said softly. "I made eggs." It felt wrong, like stepping back into a life that no longer fit. I sat down anyway. She pushed a plate toward me, hands trembling. "I need to say something," she started. "I was awful to you. I don't even recognize who I became." I stayed quiet, just listening. She kept talking, her voice shaking. "I thought I wanted what Nathan had: money, power, a perfect image. I thought you weren't enough because you didn't wear a suit." Her eyes filled with tears. "I told you you'd never be half the man he is. But last night proved he's not even a quarter of you." I stared at her for a long time. It should have felt satisfying to hear. It didn't. It just felt sad. "I appreciate you saying that," I said, "but it doesn't change what happened." She nodded, wiping her face. "I know, I ruined it. I just needed you to know I see it now." "Good," I said quietly. "Then maybe you can start fixing yourself." She asked if she could stay one more day. Said she couldn't face anyone yet. Against every instinct, I agreed. One day turned into 3. She went back to Nathan's to get her things and came back broken. "He left my stuff with the doorman," she said, sobbing. "He already changed the locks." I didn't comfort her. I just listened. By the 3rd night, she looked at me and asked, "Could we ever try again?" I shook my head. "You don't want me. You just miss how I made you feel." She cried quietly and didn't argue. When Anna came to pick her up the next morning, she hugged me. "Thank you for helping me when no one else did." I nodded and watched her leave. Months later, she came by my worksite, smiling healthier. She said she was in therapy, had her own apartment, and wanted to thank me. "I'm not here to get you back," she said. "I just wanted you to know you were the better man." I told her I knew. Then she left for good. That night, I went home to Claire. She kissed me and asked how my day was. I said, "Peaceful." And for the first time in years, I truly meant it. A few months later, I heard Nathan got engaged to a woman 10 years younger. Same pattern, different name. Emily moved back to her hometown, working again, still single but doing better. She sent one last text once, just to say thank you for everything. I never replied. Some goodbyes don't need words. Life kept moving. Work was steady, my crew stronger than ever. Claire and I moved into a small townhouse with a garage for my projects. She respected me, supported me, and never made me feel small. We built something real, something steady. No mind games, no comparisons, just quiet understanding. Sometimes I think about Emily, not with anger, but with clarity. She taught me what love is. She showed me how easily admiration can turn into contempt. But she also reminded me how important self-worth is. Losing her forced me to find myself again. Now I wake up every day beside someone who sees me, not my paycheck. Someone who chooses peace over perfection. In the end, that's all I ever needed. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. But if you learn from the loss, maybe you've already won.